In today's video, as you can see, we're going to be taking a look at the tropics for the first time, outside of our hurricane season forecast, of course, but we're taking a look at the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. That used to be 5 days, didn't it? Now it's 7 days. It used to be 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook. They changed that. Sometimes I like change, sometimes I don't. This is pretty cool, but it's always sad when something completely changes permanently, but whatever. 7 days, better, as long as it can be accurate, of course, which I think it probably can. So that's pretty cool. I'm just noticing that on the spot. So we're going to take a look at this. It is a very, very slight risk, but we're still going to take a look at it because it is the first risk, like I mentioned earlier. We're also going to take a look here at our upcoming pattern, like always, as well. So rest assured, this is not going to just be the tropics. We're just taking a look at this for a moment. Now, I do want to mention Trilogy Maps, my other business. We do have tropical maps over there. So just in case you're interested in that, we do have our Atlantic hurricane map that you can do anything with. Also, United States maps and now regional maps as well. And we're doing a 50% off spring sale, the entire store wide. And also you can use our discount code DIRECT for 33% off on top of the 50%, which is, like I've mentioned, just completely crazy. So if you want to take part in that, be sure to check it out in the pinned comment and description. Now we're taking a look here at this tropical threat. As you can see, it is only a 10% chance over the next 7 days, but it does also, if we switch this to 48 hours here, I got to get this back on screen. This has a 10% chance over the next 48 hours too. And actually, now that I kind of look at it, we do have a lot going on here. In this region on that satellite imagery. There's a lot of clouds, a lot of development happening, and this is just interesting overall. May tropical systems are not unheard of at all. This is certainly a fairly common occurrence. I'd say it happens maybe 1 in every 3 Mays. Maybe it's a little bit less than that, but we do see somewhat of tropical development. There's even been some years where we've seen May development and then none in June or July, and then we have to wait all the way until August. So it just really depends, but there's a lot of warm water out there, which definitely increases the chance for development in this type of a circumstance. Still very interesting, 10% chance over the next 48 hours. Also, still a 10% chance over the next 7 days as well, like I mentioned. So we'll continue to track this daily and see what happens. We'll be taking a look at this a lot more later on this year, obviously, in the beginning of our videos, or maybe at the end. I don't know what I'll do, but I just wanted to break that down. Now, as we move into our normal maps that we always take a look at, I just want to take us to this afternoon here. So Sunday the 21st is today. We see this tropical development actually down there on the bottom right, so keep that in mind. We'll be able to just watch kind of where that heads towards, which will be, again, very interesting. We can see that there's a lot of activity over the west, actually. This seems to be where we're seeing the most activity. Definitely very interesting. So this is a little bit of some just storminess that's able to kind of roll its way through. I don't know why it was yellow there for a minute, but as we move towards Monday afternoon, we can see that this has kind of weakened a little bit, but there's still just this storminess widespread throughout the tropics there. We can also see over the southeast here for states like Alabama, Georgia, and Florida here, we have a ton of storminess over these areas as well. And that looks to be a pretty common trend over the coming days. By Tuesday, we can see that a lot of this tropical activity, or whatever it is by now, has moved up and kind of now offshore in between the East Coast and Bermuda. And it's not developed according to this European model. It's really just a wave at this point, if anything. We can see that there's also still this persistent storminess taking place over the southeast, so that is still something to track moving forward. By Wednesday, the 24th, we can see that there is plenty of just activity offshore of the southeast still impacting these areas. Also over the Rockies and Plains, we can see this area of pretty persistent storminess taking place from south to north here throughout these pockets, and that's going to be another thing that we've been expecting to see a lot of over the coming pattern. Now by Thursday the 25th here, again, that's continuing on over there, so that kind of looks like a bowling pin. Pretty interesting. We can see that there is still this storm here sitting over the southeast, and we're going to be watching for this to potentially climb up the coast. So that is something that we're going to need to really monitor, because by the time we're reaching Friday afternoon here, we can see that this is bringing impacts to not only the southeast coast, but also the mid-Atlantic and even southern New England, it appears. And it hasn't even really moved up that far yet, so there's still a lot of potential there. And still, I mean, out west and for the central United States, they seem to be picking up in activity significantly, whereas the east seems to be slowing down. Outside of this coastal system, it seems like it is really, really slowing down here for the near future. By Saturday, the 27th here, we can see there's a bit of low pressure here, and this is causing a lot of storminess from North Carolina up through Virginia, the rest of the Mid-Atlantic, and even into New England here with very, very heavy rainfall. So this is a little bit of a late season potential nor'easter that we're going to be needing to watch extremely closely on the channel here daily. By Sunday, the 28th here, we can see that this is continued storminess from Georgia up through South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, New England. Again, just really bringing a multiple days of precipitation here, as you can see. By the time we're reaching Monday, the 29th, we can see that for a lot of the Northwest, we're seeing some snowfall, some storminess. So when we take a look at the snowfall in a minute, we're going to see that it's actually picked up again. We're still seeing some storms move through with that low by Monday, the 29th. And even by Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe, you can still see showers from this. I can't help but feel like this upcoming pattern, and really what we've been in for a little while already, is extremely slow moving. I mean, really taking its time here to move out, which definitely makes me feel like the increased probability of flooding is there just because of all of this slow movement. I mean, it's really a snail's pace that these storms are moving out and even moving in. So that means days and days of impacts from each and every storm. So I'm excited to track this with you guys. We have a whole lot going on. Let's move into the total precipitation though. And as you can see, again, the Northwest picking up in activity significantly, so we're going to do an up arrow for the uptrend there. Also for the central United States, all of the plains, we're also doing an uptrend here, where we have above average amounts. And then for most of the east here, especially the Ohio Valley in here, we're going to do a downtrend because they have been really slowing down, like I mentioned. But for offshore of the East Coast and really just onshore of the East Coast here with this tropical activity, we're significantly boosting in that precipitation. So I hope that makes sense. Also, the Southwest is kind of dealing with pretty much nothing. So we'll do like a little small arrow, but they've been kind of persistently like this for a little while. This is kind of the format I've been trying to go with, showing you guys where we can expect above and below average precipitation. Let me know if you prefer this or kind of just more of the storm track overview. I'm trying to think of what to do with this mostly, but this time of year, it's not a whole lot of major lows. It's more of just flaring up of thunderstorms and things like that. So it's a little bit harder to predict, storm tracks when there is no organized low. But let me know what you guys think. Total snowfall here. Again, very interesting to see Maine and New Hampshire potentially see some snowfall. Take that with a grain of salt for sure, because it is very rare this late in the season. But the Northwest here, the mountainous regions, as they see a bit of a cool down later on, does appear like we could begin to see more and more snowfall for these areas. So just as I was telling you guys that I think it's finally slowing down with the snowfall, it's now appearing possible that we could still be dealing with some snowfall as we approach the beginning of June, which again isn't unheard of, but isn't the most likely outcome either. So fairly interesting to see that happening, to say the least. Now, for the temperature pattern overview, things look a little bit colder in the east than we originally anticipated. We can see that there's a couple of high temperature days, like Monday the 22nd here, just tomorrow actually, where we do see some above average temperatures in the east. Same story here as we reach after this cold pattern. We could see some warmth here, like around Tuesday the 30th here. So this is clearly a very negative PNA pattern where we're seeing the warmth really spread through the east. But what ends up happening after this point, and I want to walk us through, we do see that Arctic blast still from about the 23rd through maybe the 27th, and then the warm up. But what ends up happening is this low pressure hanging out near the coast cools us back down for the most part, and we never really see a persistent warm up. And matter of fact, we go back towards maybe a positive PNA. So the temperature pattern is still very confusing, and I wish I could tell you guys that I know exactly what this looks like to me and I was 100% confident, but I really am not. I really feel like this is very fluctuating, and all of a sudden we're seeing very unpredictable temperature patterns. So I don't want to like lock onto anything and be too over certain here. I think that we need to really, really wait and see, which is perfect because I make daily uploads. So if you subscribe today, you'll get those daily uploads. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one, so we can keep up to date with all of this stuff. Also, again, the trilogy maps will be in the pinned comment and description down below if you're interested. Also, be sure to like the video and leave a comment down below because I love hearing from you guys so much. And I'll see you guys in the next video.